Jane Doe is getting her first rerun in Zenless Zone 0. So I set out on a quest to test if she's still viable, if she's still strong, or if she's been power crept to all hell. And I got some bad news for the enemies. Jane is still strong as all shit. Hello everybody, welcome to the channel, my name is Hako. In this video, we're gonna be talking about Jane Doe. So, she's coming back on Vivian's banner, and Vivian is a very highly anticipated unit. 1, people really love her, she's kind of a fan favorite. Also 2, she is an anomaly ether agent. Anomaly are the strongest carriers in the game, and ether is like one of the least catered to elements in the game. So that pairing is a match made in heaven. So I know that we have a lot of people in the community that started around the 1.4, so like after Jane's banner. So let's quickly go through what Jane does. Jane's unique thing is that she allows assaults to crit. Assault is what happens when you fully build up the physical anomaly build-up meter on an enemy, then assault will trigger. It's a big chunk of physical damage. And normally this cannot crit, but if Jane has hit that enemy, that assault can crit, and she can also pass this along to teammates. So a team I sometimes run is actually Jane and Piper, where she also allows Piper's assaults to crit. Now another thing that is kind of unique to Jane is that she converts anomaly proficiency into crit rate, and she also converts it into attack when she enters her passion state, which makes Jane an absolute like anomaly beast. Just stack anomaly proficiency and that will, scale off to everything else that she needs. And the number 1 biggest selling point I would have for Jane is that she is fun. She is so much gun and fun. If someone broke into my house, put a gun to my head and said, Hako, you have to delete all agents but 4, she would make that cut. Would she? Yeah, she would make that cut. She's so much gun and fun to play. If I started over Zenless in 1.7, Jane is probably the one I would make sure to pick up first. Not because it would be the wisest thing out of my meta perspective, because I don't really care about that, but simply for the fact that I feel like an account without Jane is a lot less fun account. But I know not all people, pull for fun. Pulls are kind of expensive, resources are hard to come by, so we have to be smarter with our pulls as well. And Jane has always been, ever since, even at release, she was a little bit more of a luxury pick, because she is cursed with being an anomaly physical agent, same as Piper. And Piper is arguably the strongest A-rank carry in the game, even outperforming, most of the standard banner cost, like S-ranks, like Nakamata and Grace. And historically, anything that, we would need Jane for, any content where Jane would thrive, Piper also thrives, so physical weak enemies. So any content where we would need Jane, we got Piper and she can get the job done. It's not gonna be as fast, it's not gonna be as flashy, but she gets the job done. But still, as someone that absolutely loves the Sons of Caledon, check out the tank top. I absolutely love the Sons of Caledon, my favorite faction. I love Piper, I've been singing her praises since day 1. I still consider Jane, for me to be a personal must pull just because of the fun she is. And I've seen some common misconceptions floating around the community that Piper is stronger than Jane. She is not. M6 Piper is not stronger than M0 Jane. Jane at base kit is still 30 to 40% stronger. And I've also heard some sentiment floating around that, Jane is power crept, which I would disagree with. Monsters and content have been getting tougher, definitely, but Jane still handled them with ease. Jane came out in 1.1, but the 1.0 units, they are much more like left behind by, power creep or whatever you want to call it, like Ellen and Jujuan. So just to test this out, I took Jane into a bunch of content, and now I have a little bit of a sad story. I spent most part of a day just doing Jane with different builds, different teams in different content, and I had a big ass recording, so I could, just pick and choose for this video. At the end of the session, I see that my file has been corrupted, and basically everything I've done that day just went down the drain. So I had to go back to the mines and re-record a bunch of stuff. But I tried out my Janes against every Deadly Assault boss that we have currently, which is the Marionettes, which is the Typhoon Destroyer, and it is the Pompeii. Now you will notice that Jane is not incentivized for any of these bosses, because physical has kind of been on the back burner for a long time. But I do hope when we see the next physical agent, the need for physical altogether, might rise a little bit. But off element, she still performed flawlessly. So I tried to rack my brains, okay, what different teams can we try out? Seth is kind of a fan favorite, easy accessible support that always works with Jane. So I used Seth, I used Astra, I used Trigger, I used Rina, I used a bunch of different stuff to just try her out. And if we take a look at the Deadly Assault buff, Blazing Shield is the best one, but Jane not being neither fire or ice, there's definitely a drop of value in this one compared to a lot of other agents. And this is kind of across the board with a bunch of different teams. This is not the best score for this team, it's just, the most current one. I think the best one I got for Typhoon was around 44,000. And mind you, my Jane is M2 with her engine, so slightly more premium Jane. But do not worry, friends, I got you all covered, even if you're not going that deep into Jane. And same things with the Marionette, even though ice and electric damage are incentivized kinda heavily on this one, I still managed to rack up a very good score with Jane. And same with the Critical Shiyu, if we pop on over here, and this is my first ever run, this was not me, min-maxing and, making sure that everything was correct, that the best run of 30, just normal, bog standard run, put Jane on, and she performed very, very well. And same here, the buff doesn't, really benefit Jane in any way, shape or form. But now, if you're sitting there worried that might just be because my Jane is M2 with her engine and, M0 with another engine, she's trash, well, I got you covered. Now my partner, she also plays Senso Zero, and she's a big fan of Bernice, but she also has Jane. And her Jane is a very, very much a free-to-play Jane. M0, we don't have her engine, we have an electric lip gloss at 2 stars. I tested out this Jane together with a Seth that you need to see to believe. So at least he's max level, and I've done some tinkering with him, but as you can see, the skills are barely leveled. We don't have a single copy of his engine, and I ran this together with her Astra, which doesn't really reach the attack requirements, not even super close. So, very, very budget team, off element, everything. Let's have a little bit of a look at that. On the Typhoon Destroyer, we still managed to 3-star it, and this wasn't me trying for ages. This is the first ever run I did with this team. Because I'm not really interested in, Jane played to the very optimal max. What can she perform? Because then that's not gonna be applicable to most people. More your bog standard run, not the best one out of 30. Just, slap them on and try them. And we still managed to 3-star. Mind you, we didn't clear it with a great margin, and I could probably get it up a lot higher than this. But this is with, a half-functioning Seth and a half-functioning Astra. Off element with a buff, which, Jane loses out a lot of value on. So yeah, Jane is still good, Jane still got this. So after what I consider to be kind of thorough testing, I can say that I still think that Jane's got it. She is still a very strong character. Now, as I touched upon earlier, we haven't really had any endgame which has incentivized physical in quite a while. And for that reason alone, I myself haven't really used Jane super much lately. But you can be assured that as soon as we get another physical agent, we're gonna see those back into rotation. And one thing that is kind of cool with Jane is, like I also touched upon earlier, she allows her teammates to also crit with their assaults. So say that the next physical anomaly does not come with the inbuilt crit to their assaults, well, then that anomaly character's best teammate is probably gonna be Jane, so she can benefit from this. But that's just speculation, we don't know. And now, this video is not aimed at the person that wants to skip Jane. I'm not trying to sell Jane to any one of you. If you don't want to go for Jane, for the love of God, don't go for Jane. This is more a video aimed for anybody that might have missed out on Jane, started after, might have lost a 50-50, etc. And now they really want to go for Jane, but they are scared to do so. This video is to put your mind at ease, like, do not worry, the little rat lady, she still got it and she is still silly freaking strong. And also the fact that she is an anomaly agent makes her age that much better. Anomaly agents have some advantages. One of them is that they quite often, if not always, wants to be paired up with each other, simply because the concept and mechanic of disorder exists, which is when two elements meet. Which is why they are rerunning Jane on Vivian's banner, because Vivian is probably gonna be very good run together with Jane. Meanwhile, with attackers, we don't see that. Attackers, they are not co-workers, they are competition, which, hampers their longevity slightly. And at the end of the day, why do we play games? We play games to have fun, right? What's the best way to have fun in this game? It's to play fun agents. And for me personally, it doesn't get much more fun than Jane. So Jane still gets my full recommendation, but that's also why I want to, try her out extensively. Both my Jane with, slightly more investment than my partner's Jane, but I also wanted to see how she performs with M0 with kind of less than optimal teammates, and same as any other character that performs with subpar gear, teammates, etc. It's not as flashy as a little bit of investment, but still able to clear everything the game currently throws at us. And with the devs now also confirming that they are gonna go back and buff old characters and keep characters relevant. I said this before, but the concept of power creep, we can just put that in this little jar and just chuck it out the window. Because if there comes a day when, Jane starts struggling, I have full confidence that the Zenless team will take care of our little rat. But also, major caveat here. She is paired up together with Vivian. From a meta standpoint, Vivian is probably gonna be, more important and probably slightly stronger because, there is 6 patches between them. And Jane is also released super close to the anniversary. The anniversary units tends to be busted in any horror game or any gacha game in general. And we now have a look at all the 2.x units coming up ahead, or at least a lot of them. So I do also promote, caution with your boots. But with all that said, was I starting over with a new account, I would make sure that I picked up Jane, because she is that much fun and she is still that strong. Also remember that Jane Doe might be, up for receiving some significant buffs. Imagine someone that can, provide lighter levels of buffs, but too physical, then we might see Jane's potential skyrocket. Her strengths are definitely that she works, with a lot of different teammates. You can select on Rena, Seth, Bernice, Vivian, Grace, Lucy, etc. She is quite flexible when it comes to her team building. And her best days might still be ahead of her. And to me, Jane is one of those characters just personifies what Zenless Zone Zero is. You look at Jane, you look at her playstyle and everything, and you can just immediately tell, oh, that's from Zenless Zone Zero. Some of the upcoming stuff, I feel like, I could find in Genshin, but Jane to me is peak Zenless Zone Zero. And 1.4 was arguably their big breakthrough through the market. But I think that, Jane Doe and her banner was also a pivotal shift in the entire game's life. And I think a lot of people checked out the game after seeing some Jane Doe. So, conclusion. Jane Doe is a lot of fun, she's still strong as all shit. I personally don't feel like the power creep has gotten to her, and I don't imagine that anybody will pick up Jane and then be disappointed. But also do remember that we have a lot of other units coming up ahead, so your account will be just fine even if you don't pull for Jane. Don't go out of your way. Don't go out of your way or, spend money you can't spend just to get Jane. Or to get any character for that matter. She is more of a luxury pick, but she is the most fun luxury pick in the game. So yeah, everybody, hope I made a good job of giving you kind of a fair assessment of Jane Doe, her current state, etc., showcasing some strengths and also some weaknesses. She is a very good character, she is not Miyabi level good. Because, quite frankly, nobody is yet. But still a very solid unit, so don't skip out on her thinking that, she's too weak at this point, because absolutely not. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, have a big hug, and Hako out.
Lights bounce off her curves. She's got the body that swerves and serves. In the city, she's the queen. Titties like you've never seen. She's pixel perfect, tall and pure, simply dream. She's breaking through electric hearts, so skipping beats. She's got those speeds that can't be beat. Tammy titties, lines so bright, bouncing through this neon night. Pixel skies and curves of prize. All I see are T's in the skies. You'll see how to find this real T's that make your circuit feel.